Welcome to Kolorflow Conversations, where we flow freely, speak boldly, and connect colorfully. I am you, Keisha, and this is
Turkeisha, and welcome to our girl chat.
yes, because it's been chatty the last couple of weeks.
I love that for us.
Well, I think that girl chat is important. We don't chat often, even though we
We chat every week. What is she talking about?
Well, we chat every week. We chat once a week. But like, as far as like a lot of girlfriends talk, I just said this to somebody yesterday. I said I don't talk on the phone to anybody every day except my sister. Pretty much that's it. My sister, and then if I do talk on the phone, it would be you, but we don't really talk on the phone. And then my other friend, and they were like, "You talk to your sister every day?" And I said, "Yeah." And he was like, "About what?" And he said, "I probably haven't talked to my sister since December."
I could not imagine not talking to my sister.
Yeah. And
That's like 6 months.
Yeah. And I was like, I remember my mom talking to her siblings every day. Every day. But like just chatting, and that was like enjoyable to them to chat every day. I look forward to me and my sister chatting on FaceTime. Well, she be chatting, I be listening.
Same.
Right. So I'm looking at her chat to me most of the time, and I'm like, But he told me, he was like, I probably have not talked to my sister since December. And I said, you need to do better.
Yeah.
And I said,
I don't think every day is necessary, but that's a lot of time that has passed by.
I think I made him think, because he was like, what are y'all, he was serious. He was like, what are y'all talking about? And I said, just
life, whatever.
I said, like everyday stuff, like whatever. And he's like, yeah, I haven't talked to her in 6 months. And I said, well, it might be a good time to, reach out to your sisters. And I don't know if it's a difference because we both have sisters, and well, I ain't got no brothers, but but is it different if it's just sisters, or do you think that brothers and sisters still have that same type of, if not even every day, every couple of days, every week? I don't know.
I feel like you, as a mom of
a boy and a girl, honestly,
I don't think your kids would go that long without talking.
No, I don't think so.
I couldn't picture them going that long.
And probably not talking on the phone, because now I think their big thing is they text each other. Yeah. So I definitely think that they would
have some type of communication.
But what starts that where you don't have that communication? You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's odd to me.
I wonder if it's just day-to-day life or how you were just raised, because I didn't talk to my sister as much as I do now until my mom passed away.
I think it's the same. Well, I believe it's the same.
Because I probably before could have gone months and not talked to her. And we would communicate like through my mom, like, hey, how Tiffany doing?
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I will say this. We were almost raised like the Bobbsey twins, because we was only like a year apart. Even to the point where she dressed us alike. So in school, in elementary and middle school, we even had pretty much the same group of friends. I think in middle school, junior high school, I was friends with her friends because they were older, and I was doing what they wanted to do. Now, I think our years of not being as close was the high school years, because we went to 2 different high schools and we had 2 different sets of friends. And I think that was the years that we probably bumped heads the most, where it was just like, you in your world, I'm in my world. And I think that was also during a time where when we talk now, she'll tell me things that I really didn't know went on with her, and vice versa. But I think as we got older, we talked more. But when we were married, I don't think we talked as often, because life.
Mm-hmm.
Life. And when I say life, I think it was life as far as we both was dealing with trying to be the wife that we were supposed to be, and you just wasn't focused on that sibling. When my mom passed, it did something. It changed it, and it was even to the point where someone reached out to me when after my mom passed and was like, "Wow, I have to really commend you and your sister because y'all really was just on one accord with everything, and I didn't expect y'all to be like that." And I was like, "Yeah."
That's something to say.
Well, and they probably look at it like.
And I guess I could see that too. I'm pretty sure people probably said that about my sister and I behind our backs.
Yeah,
I can see that.
Yeah, and this person said it was like a close friend, so he probably felt like he could say that. Not the friend, but another friend.
Yeah,
but you know what I'm saying. He was just like, I just didn't expect you all to be on such one accord, and I was like, well, my mother's passing really did something to us, and ever since then we've literally talked every day, multiple times a day, probably text just she sent random texts anyway.
Yes,
she sent random texts anyway. But yeah, we chit chat, even if it's just for a few minutes every day. And so I think that the girl chit chat is important to me in my life at this time because I don't do a whole lot of chatting. I don't. I think that when I made some important changes in my life. I was just recently saying this to someone too, that you realize when you make changes for the better, the people drop off that need to drop off.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And you always think that you're going to have these people or friends or relationships or things that you need forever. And I just live a very simple, not simple life. Simple as far as I don't need a lot of people. I know who I need now, and I deal with those people. I'm always joyous to meet new people, but I know where to place them in my life. Everybody is not meant to be your friend. I saw a video this morning. I'm sorry. Did you want to say something? Because I'm just talking.
Keep going.
I saw a video. Look, I'm the polite friend. I try to be at least, since I'm not empathetic. I am polite. But listen, I saw a video this morning, Takesha. You tell me what you think about this. It was a TikTok where a lady, she probably was about our age, and she said she recently met someone that she was considering to become her friend, a girl. And she said, but before I met her, not before I considered her my friend, I wanted to see what her relationship with her husband was like. And she said, people may think that sounds strange, but I thought it was important to see if she had a healthy at-home situation before she could be my friend. And she said she's probably going to see this video. And she said, I wanted to see if her husband supported her, if he was gentle with her, how he treated her. And she said, when I met him, it was an event that the friend was having, and she introduced her husband to her friend, and he said, it's nice to meet you. And she said, yes, this is a really nice event. He said, yes, I'm so glad to be here to support my wife. She said at that moment, she knew this could be my friend because she felt like they had a healthy situation. Not that it was perfect, but a healthy situation where it wasn't going to be all baggage or all negative. And I was like, man, do we ever think about that when we meet new people?
I don't think that we did before, but I'm pretty sure where we are in our life now.
Yeah.
Because even when I have certain conversations with certain people, you know how we talk about like, we'll just end it and be like, yeah, that ain't it. So I can only imagine. And that's Bible. Like a friend is proven. You just don't become and just be like, you're my friend.
Yeah.
You have to prove that.
Yeah.
So I commend her for that. And it shapes the relationship.
That's what
because
she said.
If her and her husband, whatever, you know what I'm saying, the situation may be, like you said, it's not perfect, but you know when it's bad and it's unhealthy, you're not about to be talking to me about that every day, all day, bringing it down. Because my thing is, we all have a little baggage and something that we working on, but I need you to be self-aware.
Yeah, that part.
I need you to be self-aware. And also what I need in my relationships is, I'm not going to say even if you're not, I need you to be self-aware, and I need you to be open to have a conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if I bring something to your attention and it's going to piss you off and you hang up in my face, or you want to curse me out or something, we not friends.
We can't do it. Absolutely. And I believe that's where she was going, because at this age, when you hit your 40s, 50s, you really ain't trying to make new friends. But if you're going to meet somebody, you want to meet somebody who's self-aware, like you said, somebody who's healed or on a healing journey because they're becoming self-aware. And she was just like, this just don't go for married people. She said that was that situation because that friend was married and she wanted to make sure that her situation at home was good. She said, but it also go for single friends. What is your relationship with your family like? What is your relationship with your siblings like? What is your relationship with, and that shapes who you kind of are.
Yeah, because I don't think that those relationships have to be perfect.
Right.
But if they're toxic and you're always in it and you're continuing the toxic cycle, then that's where the problem comes.
That part. So I believe now where I am now, I'll be 50 this year, and that made me jog my memory to like friendships I had over the years, and I'm like, oh, that was a good season. And now where I am now, I'm like, oh, it wasn't meant for, and we've said this many times, people to cross over to where you are next. And how she worded that, how she dealt with that situation with her new friend, I was like, that's gonna make me think as I meet new people, like, I'm not just gonna meet you and we be cool because you cool and we click. Cause I literally know.
It's like, I need to vet you. I need to vet everybody in my life. It's no different from a man that may come. I got to bring the man in every week.
Her man.
Wait until you come. Her man. Like, here she goes.
But that's true though.
Yeah,
it's true. I mean, unselfish, self-aware, just and we said this all the time.
My thing too that's big is to just be open-minded. You don't have to, because I have really strong beliefs. I say this all the time. My beliefs, I feel like it's law, but it's my law. But I at least need you to be open-minded and not want to attack me for my beliefs, because I don't attack others. I respect the differences. I may not adapt it, but I'm gonna respect it.
Absolutely.
And some people don't have that respect.
I mean, that actually is supposed to be what you do anyway. In most all situations, we don't have to believe the same thing, and our differences is what shape who we are. Did you see?
Because perception, two different beliefs can be true at the same time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, I think that especially when you get comfortable in what you believe and who you are, which is where I am now, because I don't care what nobody think about me, what I believe or what I, feel or whatever. I know who I am, what I believe. I stand on that, and I ain't trying to people please nobody else no more. So, I need people in my life that respect that honestly respect that. And the circle has gotten small because, but hey, it is what it is. I live a joyous life, and I said I girl. Is that a new word? I girl. I enjoy the people that I have in my life right now. But let me ask you, this is kind of switching gears, because I said to you, I'm polite, but I'm not empathetic. Do you know that I was having a conversation yesterday with my friend? I was telling him that I don't cry really anymore, and the last few times that there's been deaths, I'm talking about even close to me, I haven't cried or felt sad. And I said, what is wrong with me? And he was like, you think something wrong with you? And I said, I mean, why don't I just be regular? I literally be regular. And I don't know if well, let me not say I don't know. I know part of it is because I'm just at a point after my mama passed that it was like, this is just what life is like now. Like, we all gonna leave here. But I literally don't shed tears at funerals. I don't I'm aware of this is a sad situation. I'm aware of that. But I don't have, I said, am I losing my sense of emotion? You know what I mean? Because I don't be I don't feel I feel like it's just the next thing in life. And I don't, like my good friend who passed away in, I believe it was March, and I was surrounded by people that was just boohooing, including my son, boohooing, crying. And I was just sitting there like, what is wrong with me? I don't have tears. I don't have tears because I believe that I just feel like this is just normal.
I have a theory.
Mm-hmm.
My theory is, again, it's normal. I think the loss of a mother that you're close to changes you. Like, it brings about the reality, like, okay, this is what happens. People leave this earth.
Mm-hmm.
Death becomes really real. It's real all along, but when it's your mom, like our mothers were, I believe that it hits different. And I also believe that when you become spiritual, and I mean spiritual in a sense when you really believe that there is an unseen.
Right.
And that everything is working together, and gone from this earth does not mean vanished forever.
Okay.
So my theory is that once that happens, you're not in the same place where you were before with the boohoo crying. I cry all the time.
Yeah.
I just cried yesterday. Okay. So, and I cry for my mother a lot, but I don't cry for her the same way from when she first passed, if that makes sense, because I know that I have a connection to her. Sometimes my tears is just, I just wish you were here in the physical, but a lot of times I too feel like, am I insensitive? Because okay.
I don't, and that's the thing.
And I
that's
hate
the word.
to say it like that, because it's just like, I'm not insensitive to it because I know that it's hurtful.
Yeah.
But that's why I pray, like I pray that that people are open up to the unseen, and something can happen to let them know, to bring them comfort.
That's that part. That's the word. I don't want to be an insensitive person. And I have feelings about it. But my feelings,
because it's a sad situation.
It's sad, but why don't
know that loved ones need to be comfort? But I don't need to stretch out and lay out on the floor anymore. I need to embrace the memories that we have, because our time here is limited.
And I believe that when this happens, I personally be feeling like they're crossing over to the next realm.
Yeah,
and I don't have a sadness where I want to cry. I just have I believe my feelings like, man, they about to just.
And you know what else that I think people sometimes don't want to admit? A lot of those tears, and I believe Shaquille O'Neal said this, where he cried 3 times in his entire life. And it was at funerals because he didn't get a chance to say thank you. A lot of those times, the tears are from regrets.
Yeah, yeah.
And you're living in a place now where you're bringing your best self all the time. And like you talked about coming into this, all of your relationships are aligned. So when these people leave your life, they're leaving your life knowing that you love them as much and as best you could. You don't have any, unresolved issues that you wish and give me 5 more minutes to figure this, to make this better or whatever.
Yeah. I definitely believe after my mom's passing, I'm just like, I noticed, like, man, why I don't have this sense of like I was telling you, I was in a room with a deceased body, and I don't have like fear or nothing. It's just, I hate to use the word normal to me, but that's almost how it feels like. This is what happens to us. This is and it's no matter how sad I feel, I'm just like, well, I don't feel sad. No matter how sad I'm supposed to feel, I don't feel it. And I dislike it because I don't want to be insensitive. I mean, when we were at the funeral for my friend, everybody's crying, and one young lady sitting next to me was boohooing, and my son was boohooing, and I'm sitting there like, I shall wear a crown.
I remember though that you talked about that on the podcast, that you was like, yeah, I remember that.
I was just, and now I'm becoming more aware of it. Like, why am I not?
I just honestly, my theory, I just really think that it's just a part of your journey, and it doesn't mean that you won't ever cry.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But I just think that it's just, a part of your journey and the relationships that you've had with the individuals who have passed on.
Yeah, like I
passed on, continuing.
Yeah. I don't I'm really now always thinking about when I leave somebody, and like when you go home today, I always think about that could have been my last time speaking to them. I always want to make sure that, and I don't always get it right, but I always try to make sure that I leave in a place where if it was my last time seeing you, I don't have any regret. People who are in my life know that I love them, and I'll tell them I love them, and I don't have any regret about anything. So maybe that's part of it too, because even my children, every time they drive or something, I'll be like, this could be my last time seeing them. Let me make sure that they know that, I love them. Before my daughter leave, we always pray together. If the last memory she have of me is us praying, I don't have any regret for that. So, I don't know. I'm not insensitive. I think everybody who around me know that I love them, and I'm a caring person. But when it comes to death, I don't feel sad no more. I don't. I'm just, they passed on. Y'all should be happy for them, because
I feel very similar with that. But on the flip side, I haven't experienced anyone in my immediate outside than my mother. So someone in my immediate, as much as I know and I'm connected, I'm gonna fall out.
Yeah. See, that's the thing too. My immediate, I'm sure it'll be different. I'm absolutely sure it'll be different. Yes.
But extended, not to be a jerk, but it's like I am compassionate.
Yes.
Sympathetic.
Yes.
But I'm not falling out on the floor.
Yeah. So, hey,
Sadly, it is a part of life. We all gonna leave here and we don't know. That's why every day I'm bringing my best foot forward, okay?
As you look so sunshiny and bright today.
Thank you.
I know that's right, girl.
Thank you. Okay, I don't care where we going, what we doing. From now on, when I leave out of that door,
yeah,
I'm bringing my best foot forward. Like when I wake up, I don't leave out that often, but when I do, I am, because it's just like I don't know if today is gonna be the last day.
Absolutely.
So I'm really trying to treat it like what it is, like how it's present day. It's the present, and
when people be
I'm gonna act like I'm everybody's gift.
People, I love that. People always say you need to enjoy life. What does that enjoy life mean for? It means something different for everyone. But now that you're in this space of I'm going to live life, do you feel like you're enjoying life?
I feel like I always have enjoyed life. I just wish I had a car, because I would go to the river every day. That's the only part of my life that I feel like I miss, like sitting by the water. But other than that, outside of when I'm in my sunken place, I really feel like I enjoy life. And to me, it's simple. I enjoy it on the more on the weekends, when I tell myself I'm independently wealthy, because I ain't clocking in nowhere watching a timer for 8 hours. But like, it's simple, sitting in my backyard, looking at my fairy garden, looking at the birds. It don't even need to be something extravagant, so I try really to embrace every day, having conversations, laughing at TikToks.
Girl,
just, it doesn't have to be a grand gesture every day.
Yeah.
And we like luxury, so grand gestures are nice, but it doesn't have to be for you to realize life is good.
Yeah, absolutely.
I am embracing, I've gone through a lot within the last year, so I embrace like the simple things, like your son's alive. Hallelujah.
He just turned 30.
Yeah. So I can't believe he's 30. That is so wild to me.
I didn't.
I was just like, Jordan, how does it feel to be the same age as your mama?
You did not say that. Did he look at you like, you're not 30?
I was just like, I just can't believe we the same age. Like, that is so wild.
Yeah, I texted him on his birthday and was like, happy birthday. And now he has this thing, which just, maybe that make me melt, that he calls me God Mama. Because he never used to do that. I mean, now it's always, thank you, God Mama. And I'd be like, oh, that's so sweet. And I'm like, that type of stuff,
You warmed his heart, because he didn't mention it to me, but he did mention it to my sister. And she was just like, yeah, he said that Keisha texted him. I was like, oh, look at that. Look at him feeling all special on his day.
Yeah.
But yeah, girl, we the same age. But
you 30 forever?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I embrace that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just learning that a good life is
a simple life.
Yeah.
A full, that's a full life.
Yes. My life would be fuller at the point when, what I harp on every week, and it ain't the husband, it's that damn debt. Jeez, oh, peace. Can I get the mortgage paid off? Like, that's when we'll be like, oh, in the fullness. Like I told you today, even though I don't be wanting to clock in, even my work day was smooth. And I'm like, I do have challenging work, but overall, I can't complain. And I've always been like, if I have to work, I don't want to work nowhere else but here.
Yeah.
So it's just for me, just embracing what I have right now and being grateful, because it's always going to be something.
Always.
And I'm always dealing with something, but I'm learning to retrain my mind. And that has been the hardest thing that I've had to do in my adult life. But what I realized at the core is because I was raised in chaos. So I'm always expecting chaos. My nervous system doesn't know how to regulate. So when things are smooth in my mind, I'm waiting for the explosion.
Really?
Yes. And I'm trying to, and so far I've been doing good with retraining my thoughts, because what I'm learning is when you're constantly waiting for the explosion, you're manifesting something to happen. Because death and life are in the power of the tongue. I don't care what nobody say. Like, we co-create our lives, and nobody can tell me anything different like that. If you wanted to go to school for something, you went to school for it, you co-created and you picked that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I try to really be conscious of my thoughts. Like, me and a group of my loved ones decided to, a friend of mine mentioned it to me and I mentioned it to someone else, like that voice. You know how back in the day it was like the devil and the angel on the shoulder?
Yeah.
To give that devil a name. So it's just like, oh, okay, so and so, like, I ain't trying to hear what you're trying to say, because it's that voice trying to, like, that overthinking is the demonic spirit trying to pull you away.
Yeah,
where it's just like, if you're having a good day, it's okay to have a good day and embrace that. I ain't got to think of, like, I would literally be in the shower and be like, I wonder when the water heater gonna start working.
Really?
Yes. Like,
wow.
That is literally, but when I realized, I was just like, it's because I grew up in chaos where something was always happening. I remember situations of just having to pack up and run out the house. I remember experiencing things in my adult life, so that's all shaped me into who I am. And retraining those thoughts,
it's hard.
It's very hard, and it's a constant thing, especially when it's something, like I said, as simple as the water heater. I can wash my hands and be like, how long is faucet gonna last? Like, I'm literally always anticipating something, and I don't want that for me, because when I look at my life, it makes me think about the long suffering. I've been creating long suffering because all I'm thinking about is long suffering thoughts.
Yes, absolutely. That is one thing what you're saying, like you was raised in chaos, which is one thing that I've been adamant about not creating for my kids, is not raising them in chaos. So because I do think, and you're giving me the example of that stuff stays with you for years, and I don't want that for them. I think that having peace and stability and comfort as a child,
it does way more than people really realize for that child's mental
mental growing up, for sure. So I'm definitely a comforting mother. I'm an aware mother, and you've really helped me, and I tell you this all the time, with having an introverted child, to understand that just because I was a certain way as a child don't mean that your child is going to be like you. Just because I like certain things as a child doesn't mean that my child is going to be like me. So I have to learn not to create chaos because I think you should do it this way because this is how I did it. And that's chaotic too. So I'm very very adamant about not creating a chaotic environment. Yeah, they're a product of a divorced parents, but once I got myself together and stopped, my chaotic side, there was no stopping me. It was like, okay, they feel peace now. Let me keep this going. Okay, they're okay with this. Let me keep going. So I wish that a lot more parents will realize that they create the chaotic atmospheres in their home with just the pressures you put on your child,
or even them observing. Because a lot of things come from just observing, not even like, the direct parent-child relationship. Sometimes it's just them watching the parent, their relationships with other people and all of that. all of that plays a factor.
You know, I also, someone even said to me one time, like, it's my kids are okay because even if we not together, they still have their father in their life. But I have great examples of people that's been raised by a single mother. That I told you about, the guy who I dated back in the day. You thought he was a church guy. He wasn't. He was only, I don't know if he ever even met his father, but just have always, I think his mother kept a peaceful atmosphere for him and stability for him. He was surrounded by a good family that showed him love, and he turned out to be a good man. Now he's a good husband, father, in spite of, you know. And I never remember, even because I've known him since I was, maybe I known him really since I was 14. And from 14 to now, I can't remember a time where he's had any, you know, dramatic, chaotic experience. And we done talked about multiple things over the years, and he just didn't have a chaotic life. And I think it's possible to do that even as a single parent, whether you're the father or the mother. You're able to do it, but you have to be self-aware.
Yes.
You have to be self-aware. So, you know, if you're not self-aware, then, you know, how do you correct it?
That was one thing I believe I tried to be self-aware. You can't protect your kids with everything, but I was, and I still am to this day, very mindful of the people who I bring around my son. And every guy that I dealt with, I didn't always open my door for them to come into his life, especially, you know, while he was young. As he got older, I think he met more people, so to speak.
But by then, he wasn't even fazed by it.
I think it was like 3, maybe, which is not even a huge number compared to how I'm just going to keep it real. We really be out here just meeting and kicking it with people. You know what I'm saying? And everybody ain't coming through. Everybody ain't coming in. And I mean that in several different ways.
Absolutely. Listen, I've been divorced probably almost 10 years. 10 years. And I know I done had multiple, you know, experiences. Yeah. And my kids met one person. One. There was no revolving door of people with them seeing coming in and out. And I was, you know, adamant about that. Like, they not about to they're not about to see this life. I'm about to have this life over here.
Exactly. That ain't for them. Even with my son being 30, I was hesitant to tell him that I wanted to get married. And he's 30.
Why was you hesitant?
Because I'm still like, he's still my baby that I'm still trying to shelter and protect.
Guess what my child said when she asked me, "You want to get married again?" And I was like, "I don't know. You know, if God have it for me, I'll do it." And I was like, "Why? You don't think I should?" She said, "You're too old."
Oh, they be thinking we be old. Like, don't she know we the same age?
I was like, "What?" Your grandfather was 85.
Right.
And got
married again.
I was like, what made you think I'm too old? But I also think it's because I have not had a revolving door. They haven't seen the dating. They knew I was dating, but they haven't seen the full, you know, dating life. So if I was continuously dating somebody and had somebody in their life, I think it would have been different. But because it's just been me, and they feel the peace. They know it's like, you know, we good over here. Well, I think it's like, why would you want to do that? So, and I get it because I definitely ain't too old.
No, but you know, at that age, I think that we look at age so differently. Because now that I'm my age, I remember thinking like, looking at my mom and stuff, and now I'm just like, I wish I could tell her, like, girl, I get it now. I say that all the time, like, I get it, because like, you was young, we was only 20 years apart. Like, I totally understand.
Yeah. Well, my mother was older when she had children, so I think I always looked at her like, My mama old.
I always thought that I had the young mom in comparison to my friends, but she was still old to me.
What's funny though is I don't know if they consider me old, but they friends all my sons has had friends over the years that was like, your mama fine. And my daughter said the same thing. One of her male friends was like, your mama. I was like, I'm not too old. But I don't think the friends look at me as old. I think they look at me as a fun mom. But my kids probably like, simmer down.
Yeah.
Simmer down. Stay down there.
My son be like, all my friends fine. And I'd be like, that is so gross. Please don't tell me.
He tell you that?
All the time.
All
the time. I ain't never told the ones who he be talking about, but yeah, I'll be like, oh my God.
Girl, and that's
like he gonna date a cougar.
Oh, you know what? I could see that.
He dating up and I'm dating down.
I could see that. What's funny is none of your friends is his type from the people he dated.
Yeah.
Nobody. That's why I'm like, I'm surprised he think that. I could see him dating older though.
Because also remember he's still a man. They
True.
they type B.
True. They don't have no
female.
Type. Right. Female. Y'all ain't got no type. It'd be like no face. He don't care about what that face look like. He's probably looking at the booty.
Yep, exactly.
He's like, oh yeah. Yeah. Wow, that's crazy. Oh wow, yeah. My kid was like, "You too old." I was like, "No, I'm not," but I'm not pressed about it, and I thank God I'm not. I had that pressed feeling for a relationship for years, for a marriage for years, and I'm just glad to be in the opposite of that now because
I don't know. When I think of pressed, because I want it, but I'm not losing sleep.
No, you ain't never been pressed.
Because that's why I was just like, I think about that phrase when we say that, because what I hate, and I see this sometimes on TikTok, like the women who come for the women who want a relationship, where it's just like, ain't nobody saying that they not okay by themselves. But it ain't nothing wrong with wanting a companion at the same time, too.
It's not.
It's not at all.
I mean, what you think we here for? Not saying that's the only reason we here, but he made woman to be with a man.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure at some point I'm gonna be like, where you at? But right now I'm like, but I say I was pressed because sadly I believe that you can be groomed for a relationship and not for life. And I think that
was deep. Groomed for a relationship and not for life. Let's reflect on that for a moment.
Yeah, well, because I was taught a lot of things. But we talk about our people passed on. I feel like my mother's lessons now, she's teaching me lessons now that I wasn't taught while she was here.
I agree. And I think that I was groomed for life and not a relationship. That is wild.
Yeah, I was groomed because when I talk about, when I think about just life experiences, okay, getting my first apartment, credit, paying bills, I learned that all on my own. I didn't have to, nobody sat me down like explaining this is for this, this is for. So when it was time when I met somebody who was like, let's get married and propose, I went into that really not knowing anything. And so when he would be talking about, he got something as big as car insurance, we got to pay the car insurance, I'm looking like, what? Because I knew to get a job. But I feel like I was groomed for relationship, not for life.
That's how my mother was, though. Like I said, she was married at 19, and she was the girl from Mississippi. And my dad got her the car and did all of those things. But I never have really thought about that. But I definitely believe that I was groomed for life. And that's why I was so much in my masculine energy. I have this girliness and I've always had that, but I don't know, embodied that masculinity.
Yeah. And I was always girly. Think about how when you met me, I was always makeup girl from time you met me.
Yes, I remember. I was I'm about to say cheer team, but the high steppers.
Yeah, I was a cheerleader, but
I do that every time. I think
you get about you thought I was a high stepper, no, because I wasn't a dancer.
I get them reversed every time, but yes,
I was everything that was girly and people pleasing as a girl, and which is why now I don't raise mine for relationship. I raise them both for life. Relationship is secondary to or thirdary or whatever to what you need to learn for life. And but I always put this disclaimer on there. I don't fault anybody because I had a great childhood growing up and everything, but so much of it was
and like we say, they did the best. Yeah. They did the best that they did with the tools that they were given.
Yeah,
wisdom comes with age, absolutely. And by the time, like I'm pretty sure who our fathers now, and if our mothers were alive now, if they were able to raise us from this point, it would be totally different.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I don't feel any kind of way because I believe I love my parents and have great parents. And me, even as a parent, know how many things that I would do differently if I could go back from when I had Jordan at 19. But I definitely believe that grooming thing is important, and it's important to have balance. I think it needs to be both with relationships and life. And when I say relationships, I don't necessarily mean like the male female, just friendships.
Everything. Yeah.
Because a lot of times we develop those people pleasing where it's just like, is this something that you really want to do, or are you doing it because everybody else is doing it?
Yes.
Like, just think of trends.
Yep.
Trends are so popular and they've always been around, so to speak, like just in different areas, not necessarily us doing the dance on TikTok trend, but the new purse. So now I got to get these shoes. Like, I don't feel like I'm good enough because I don't have the latest whatever. So I think it's very important for us to teach our children self-worth.
Listen, even when I think about one of the things that I would change about how I raise my kids, I like eating habits. It's a lady that I watch her videos about her. I think he 18 months. Her son, she feeds him so many different types of foods, veggies and fruits and just different things. And I think about how I groom their eating habits to be almost terrible.
Oh, me and George is still terrible. Terrible.
Yeah.
I don't know. Last time we had something that was a vegetable or green.
And now, because this is one of the reasons I'm thankful for social media, because my children do look at things, and my daughter will say, you know what, I'm going to make a smoothie. I mean, she came in here and showed us her food today. It was like some spinach and chicken and a potato. And so that's something that now I encourage. But if I had groomed the better eating habits, because girl, I was buying the Kraft macaroni with the powder and pour it in there with the milk and or whatever. And
girl, I ate that earlier this week.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you still be eating that?
Yes, it's quick and easy. I like
would not eat that now.
What do I call it? Oh, I got a name that I can't even. Survival food. I have a lot of survival food at home, and that's one of my favorites.
Yeah, but see, you'll eat that, but you won't eat ramen. But no, I groom their eating habits. Now, as they are getting older, now they're eating better. But yeah,
I was reversed. When Jordan was coming up, I did so much better. And I think once he got to high school, I was like, to hell with everything.
Eat whatever you want.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, we groom and I think that when we people always say the word groom, they always think it's something sexual. But no, you're
it's
training.
Just setting an example.
It's
yeah,
setting
you're
an example.
training.
You're training. You're teaching. And when you teach, my teaching was because nobody was saying, "Girl, don't focus on them boys. Focus on this," or focus on this.
Mine was school. Like again, I'm still waiting to get the okay to date. I'm still waiting on that from my parents. I think the one guy that went to your high school after I had left, they was open to that because he went to that high school
I can see
and
that.
pictured him being. I mean, he was.
He was.
He was.
Yeah.
He was everything that they thought he was.
He was. He was.
So
cute, but smart.
Yeah. So
athletic. Where he at?
I don't know. But dang, that brought us some memories I wasn't ready for.
Listen, you had a couple. No, I'm not gonna say a couple. Couple is two. So yes, we'll say two. People from that school.
Yeah, I did.
That when you think back, okay.
So yeah, as I what was I saying? So I think that with the dating, that was always on the back burner. Like in 11th grade, I had the job. So when I got a car, it was just like, you need to pay for it. They taught me all of the
business. They groomed you for that. Baby, I wasn't. No.
So like the other day, we were talking about like finances and stuff. And I told my dad, I was like, well, I got 0 in my account. I wish it was like he seen a ghost on his face. I know he was like, I was like, well, it's just today. Who knows what tomorrow gonna be? And I used your phrase. Funny. I was just like, daily bread.
Do you know why I think that they didn't groom me for life though? Because think about who my father is. My father took care of everything. So they probably thought I would get a husband that was going to take care of everything.
And my dad primarily took care of everything too. When we moved, things shift where I believe my mom had to contribute a little more. And I mean, like she paying telephone bills and her own car and stuff. But to this day, I believe that my dad is hands down, men ain't. They ain't ish. Yeah. So you need to have your own, and you need to take care, be able to take care of yourself. He's hand down like that. Yeah. Like I imagine a day when I tell him that I'm dating and bringing somebody that I'm about to get married. I imagine him needing a doctor on hand because he might have a heart attack. Like what you're ruining your life.
I think that now, after some of my experiences, my father now is like, take care of you. You good. Take care of yourself, because he saw that. I mean, when I first had a pump, he was like, "You pump your own gas?" I never forget he asked me that.
Did he? We coming on the close, but did he? He probably was like, "Wait, what? Like your mother has never done this, and why are you doing this?"
My mother never drove up to a gas station. Like never. So I believe that that's probably why I was groomed for a relationship, because my dad took care of everything. Yeah. But when you get into one where you gotta do some stuff, you like, oh, this is not what I'm used to. I should have never left if I could live with him now, my daddy, I would, because I know he'll take care of everything. Girl. He would. Girl. He called me this morning. We talked about an hour. And I'm telling you, just listening to him talk, I just be like, man, he got a lucky wife. He has a
My dad is so lucky not to have a wife. Because I ain't that mature yet. Look, a friend of mine posted the other day, maybe it might have was a couple weeks ago, but it was something was just like, it's okay having kids and all, but who said you got to feed them until they're 18? I was like, try 49, because I still call my dad and be like, what did you cook? What? Like, what you cook? And he'd be like, I cooked some dish. You want me to bring you something? He used a soft voice with me too.
That's where you get it from? Really?
Yeah, he used a very gentle voice when he talks to me.
I bet he don't use no gentle voice. He'd be like, hey, Keisha. I'd be like, okay. I hear you. Really?
Yeah. He definitely babies me.
You know, on the way here, we was talking about something. I'll be close, and you had mentioned that somebody in your family wouldn't let you do something. and your dad uses a baby voice with you, you're treated like the baby even though you're not. Have you ever taken a deep dive thinking about why they treat you like you a baby?
Absolutely not.
You're just gonna keep being treated like the baby?
Yes. Okay.
And on that
sometimes
note,
I call my sister the big little sister. Cause she definitely got baby vibes, but my parents have always been gentle with
she
me.
has baby vibes with. Well, she does have some baby vibes with you, but I think she has more baby vibes with other people because even I treat her like a baby.
Yeah, she definitely has that, but they've definitely been gentle with me, and maybe it's because I've seen a lot. I don't know. We'll bring this on the close. I'm not about to deep dive into that because all I know is, sir, wherever you at, I'm a baby. I can't do nothing but feed myself and go shopping.
Listen, as we close our chit chat, I hope this man come on because I need to see who he is. Because I'm gonna be like this on the front row, like she had told you over and over she a baby.
Yes.
Oh, listen, we want y'all to like, listen, subscribe, share, tell a friend to tell a friend. Oh, we supposed to be going live this month, girl. We just be talking. We're gonna be going live, and once we go live, we want y'all to join those conversations and let us know what you think.
I'm excited for that.
Yes, we see y'all next week.